And so, Lilly sheds her mortal essence, ascends to goddesshood as the Lady of Murder, and inherits an abyssal realm all her own, designated Duramur. The choice was inevitable. Any remaining tethers to a mortal existence were severed before making her decision. She had no remaining family or love. The motherly Jaheira was gone, lost like her husband Khalid, protecting Gorian's ward. And yes, in the end, Lilly would have even been willing to extinguish that little girl Eowyn's life had she not volunteered her essence in order to claim her birthright. So what could be found at Duramur? She made a number of improvements over her pocket plane. Her imp familiar Duke acts as head servant, certainly more tolerable than the talkative Sespinar. Also, instead of a smith, she keeps a skilled corvisor, not to be confused with a cobbler, in the imp Crispy, whose work rivals that of Hethmeyer's high boots of Everland. She's created a virtual abyssal paradise for herself. One of her favorite installments, a wyvern skull bathtub recently commissioned from El Hazir's Exotica of Arabelle. She spends most of the time inside, soaking her naturally pale elven skin in hot baths with exotic oils while being bathed and hand-fed by salacious, nigh-clad dissident succubi. What is she nibbling on in between foot massages while still in the bath? Green plover egg omelets garnished with gold dust, just like the nobles enjoy in Shaolong. But despite what Lilly thinks, the decadent bliss of Duramur won't last forever, as we'll soon see. Otherwise, in the end, Lilly had her revenge. Almost. Tazok, Saravok, Lord Jirdan Firecrag, Yoshimo, Bodhi, and of course, the pathetic little Jonalith. Who are the guilty persons still freely walking the realms? Even Lilly's new wyvern skull bathtub doesn't stop her becoming apoplectic at times thinking about some of them. Saemon Havarian, who escaped while in Ankethrin, was never supposed to have been resurrected in the first place. The parties responsible for that raising are on her list as well. Jarlaxle, who manipulated and embarrassed her during the DRX affair in the drow city of Usnatha, might find himself suffering from asphyxiation by none other than an animated golden rope. And Zeronda Rindown, Queen of Tethir, who ordered Lilly's execution whether guilty or not, might find herself awoken in the middle of the night by the sound of an assassin's dagger being unsheathed. Wow. I'd like to thank you if you've been following this series. It's been an awfully long road. I think we're close to 300 hours just for the Child of Bhaal trilogy itself. And of course, I'd also like to thank everybody for the tremendous support over this last year, including positive feedback and words of encouragement. It's been quite a journey so far. Despite how far Lilly has come, it turns out her story isn't even half told yet. I also like to look at statistics. For this game alone, there was over 177 hours of gameplay spread out over about 8 months. In the end, I think I had about 55 pages worth of notes, which actually includes notes for over 650 NPCs. See, turns out Lilly has 20 lives. I think the most common cause of death was actually traps, taking credit for 3. She also collected a total of 7 pairs of boots, including a common worn-out set, gargoyle boots, and 5 pairs of the paws of the cheetah, commonly known as boots of speed. And of course, there are a lot of questions that remain unanswered. Did Lieutenant Aegisfield ever discover the identity of the murderer in the bridge district of Athkala? Where did Anim and Delra go at the Copper Coronet after we left a gift for Prelate Wesleyan of the Most Noble Order of the Radiant Heart? What happened to Arctic Santil of Saradouche? Was he murdered by Matteo or Kaiser Yeri? What was Countess Santil hiding? Where was Brunor's pink hammer, enchanted by Cyrene, which he lost in the Small Teeth Pass? What could have been done with oddities like the Baylor's Claw, Bowstring of Gond, Eye of Tyr, Hindo's Hand, Liquid Mercury, Methled's Harp, Mimic's Blood, Montolio's Clasp, Roarnock's Horn, and Skull of the Lich? Where are the dense puddings mentioned in Elminster's Ecology's Appendix 3A? Where was Dilly's puppy who was scared every time Dilly, that's the patient from Spellhold, took his face? How come Rakshasa spirits never came to retrieve the bait that was the Flail of Ages? We had the Gessenbow string, but where was the Gessenbow shaft? How did Hergen Stoneblade get the nickname Banshee from Nalia? We found the second half of Idris Tombelthan's journal describing what sounded like a treasure cache, and we even encountered a member of his family, Jameis, the Tetherian general. But where was the first half? How is the little girl Jaela, Lissa's daughter? Did Jan Janssen finally get the better of Velig? We recovered golden arm and leg bones from a Shade Lich who mentioned Kangax, but where were the other two parts, presumably a golden head and torso entombed? What kind of materials was Carrick the Smithy and Ebkethrin looking for? Who was Master Benin, who visited Sendai at her enclave? What were Merlinius, Tibbet, Toop the Brave, and Chinchilla doing in the Marching Mountains anyway? Could anything else have been obtained from the Mithril token machine at the bottom of Spellhold with the single Mithril token we had left? What was in the belly of that Utyug near the Troll Cook's kitchen in the Windspear dungeon? Did Arenthis ever find a caretaker for Riza? What did the Solar mean when she said that Lilly, speaking with herself about Aluando's prophecies, had been taught the prophecy in this way? There was a statue depicting a woman whose eyes blazed with light, waiting for something to be placed in her arms, at the temple ruins of Amanautor, north of Umar Hills. But what was she waiting for? Where did Zordran disappear to in Ostnatha? He was supposed to return with more monsters for Viconia to fight in the Tavern Pit Fight Arena. Why did Tazok have a key to an illithid base beneath the temple district of Athkatla? Were Lady Jistev and the Thumb of the Sea's Bounty really involved? Who were the Enlightened Ones? Torgal the Troll admitted that the siege of Daernese Keep was for the stronger, but who exactly was that? We had the Wave Shaft, but where was the Wave Blade, reportedly lost in the planar city of Sigel or sunk to the bottom of the Sea of Swords? Was Zar really at the docks of Athkatla? Who resurrected him? What was Yoshimo doing while we were fighting Shagbag, Screwloose, and Crazyface on the roof of the Copper Cornet? And finally, are the Umberhulks in the Daernese Keep dungeon still busy eating 10 pounds of dog stew? Some people have also asked, over the last year, I guess during the course of the Baldur's Gate series, which game I liked more, Baldur's Gate 1 or Baldur's Gate 2. This actually seems like the right place to answer a question like that, although, to be honest, I'm not sure I can, even now. Because in my mind, they're very different games, despite the fact that they're telling separate parts of the same story, and of course, despite the fact that they're both in the Infinity Engine. Baldur's Gate 1, you're limited to lower levels, obviously, but that tends to make encounters more dramatic. Even the wildlife could be dangerous at those levels. And also at those lower levels, you typically have fewer tactical options to pick from. And that actually works both ways, so your enemy even has fewer types of attacks or even defenses that you need to counter or breach. Also, the first game, I guess, starts out like a grand adventure. When you step out of Candlekeep for the first time and unable to return, you can pretty much go anywhere you want. Except, obviously, the city of Baldur's Gate. But when that finally becomes available, it's more or less an open world. So compare that with Baldur's Gate 2. Of course, here, your character reaches epic levels, which in my opinion tends to make encounters less dramatic, since everybody, even your enemies, is just simply harder to kill. But tactics become more important because now you have more options during combat. Of course, the second story has a more epic storyline, but in my opinion, that comes at a cost, because in order to tell that story, it has to corral you into entering specific areas at particular stages, and in doing so, you kind of lose that sense of adventure that the first game had. The second game also seems to lack the, I don't know what they call it, extraneous depth, I guess, of the first game, including plenty of wilderness locations, city dwellings, and NPCs that had no bearing on the plot or even side quests. That being said, I could recommend the first game if you wanted a grand adventure or, I guess, appreciate life-threatening combat, or the second game if you want an epic story or like lots of tactical options in combat. But myself, if I had to choose one as a favorite, I'd actually pick the first game. Mainly because it's the first one I played when it was first released, so kind of has a special place in my heart, I guess. But also, I actually prefer low-level campaigns. because the first levels of a character's career are actually my favorite. Things are simple, true, but they're dramatic. When Lilly first stepped out of Candlekeep, she could have easily been killed by a single well-placed arrow. Wolves were life-threatening, so were belligerent tavern patrons like Morrow, and you lose that sense of danger at higher levels. Plus, to me, the point of an RPG is to write your own story, not just choose good or evil paths along some, linear plot, as I'm starting to see in some more modern RPGs. Writing that story is simply easier to do with the first game. Don't take me wrong, a second game gives you a great story, certainly better than I could ever write, but the point is, it's not my own, the one that I would necessarily want to write while playing the game. Hope that makes sense. Well, my name's not Lilly, and this has been Baldur's Gate 2 with Throne of Bhaal. I hope that you'll join Lilly as she continues her misadventures on the Sword Coast, albeit further north, in Neverwinter Nights next. How is that possible? Remember when I said that the decadent bliss of Duramore wouldn't last forever? Lilly, as the Lady of Murder, reclaimed that portfolio from Sirik, Prince of Lies, who actually stole it in the first place from Bhaal during the Time of Troubles only 11 years ago. Sirik will likely not sit idle. Fate will have it that over the next 2.5 years, a series of unfortunate events will pluck an unsuspecting Lilly from her wyvern skull bathtub in Duramore, leaving her bitter and destitute in the city of Neverwinter by 1372 Dale Reckoning, the details of which will be revealed then. Thanks for watching, everyone. Oh, and after waiting for well over a year now, I finally get to watch both of Variax's Baldur's Gate Let's Plays. Oh, and also, if Lilly had to guess, Jarlaxle and Saemon Havarian are offering a mock toast to her health right now at the Pocket Plane headquarters of the Brigand Earth Mercenary Company for being so incompetent in her pursuit of revenge, and they probably threw in a genuine toast to the health of Queen Rindown for good measure. Thanks again, everyone.